Yeah. Yeah. We start with a powerful intro and are immediately introduced to the Fist King and a little backstory about him right before getting his name, Dan Wusong. And look at his face. Notice the single scar across his brow and that snarl on his face. Dan's hurt. It's a lot of blood, and it's come from an ambush that's not quite over yet. This is hilarious. Dan throws one of the subordinates at the remaining assassins. Imagine just like getting picked up and thrown at someone as a weapon. And without hesitating, though, the man slices through his comrade. I really like Dan's assumption about his enemy after that. He knows now that this guy will do anything to win, regardless, friend or foe. Dan declares that he's going to win in 10 moves and attacks. Love this confidence. He lands a decisive blow and continues his assault when he notices something's wrong. His hits, they're not landing where he wants them to, where he's aiming them. But it's too late. He finds himself entangled by the second assassin. And like the ending of a beautiful dance, Dan is killed, pierced through the heart. Of course, he's not called the Conqueror of the Murum for nothing, as even with his heart pierced, he rips through the ensnarement and goes for the kill. But he misses and dies. There's some bickering between the assassins, and then this one tries to make a snarky comment about Dan when BOW! He takes it in the chin. Ha ha ha! Dan finishes counting to 10, but it wasn't enough to take the guy's life, and the Fist King died. So, like any reincarnation manhwa, Dan now hears a voice, and a young woman calls to him. Oh, he's groggy. Oh, my eyes, I can't open them right. Oh, am I okay? He doesn't know what's going on. And here we get to see him. He's a young man, but with all of Dan's memories. A lot of reincarnation stories start with the main character going into a body that probably just died. Look how emaciated it is. It's far easier to get reincarnated into a dead body, and it makes sense. Imagine you're just walking down the street and someone reincarnates into your body. Where does your soul go? So this guy died from something, and Dan took over. We don't know what that something is yet. He doesn't look healthy. Dan discovers that he's part of the Yuna merchant group. The body he's in, Lee Jin-young, and he's now the eldest son of this merchant group. Which means a little bit of that. Doctor busts in and quickly runs up to him and assesses his health. And then instantly tries to give him some healthy chicken soup. But Dan recognizes this soup. And he's pissed. It's practically poison to a weak body. Like all good reincarnation stories, we get our first hurdle. Try not to die from the schemes of a slippery snake. The maids, they chatter about his appetite. And we get a reveal of Lee after coming back from training. I'm going to start calling him Lee instead of Dan now. It's clear to me that he's been training in the Fist King arts to get his body healthy. Endurance. Got to get my endurance up. Running round. Punching the air. Lee starts acting cold. And this old snake, doctor, puts on a show of just how much he cares for the young master. But also, he can't hide his curiosity on how he's gotten healthy already. He was on his deathbed. We know he actually died. Then we get this line as he calls the doctor out for trying to kill him. But this says seduce. And whether that's a translation error, a writing mistake from the last chapter, or now if it really seduced instead of killed him, it's about to become a whole different type of manhwa, if you know what I mean. Look away, kids. This might become too adulty for you. There's a little back and forth about how the soup isn't poison. It is poison. It's not poison. It is poison. It's a nourishing tonic. But Lee insists he believes it's poison, and the doctor screams his name and title as if he wasn't trying to kill him. This is some awesome dialogue. Lee has been taking notes since he's been in this body, and the doctor's behavior is beyond suspicious. And now he has him snared in his trap. After a bit of back and forth, the doctor reveals he's actually evil. Now that he's revealed his true intentions, he comments on having to kill everyone to hide the truth. Pulls out a hidden weapon, turns to see. Lee's no slouch. Wastes no time knocking out the doctor. Actually, he kills him. We even get a comment though that even though he has the past memories, his physical capabilities aren't quite there, even though he's been training. So it's good to know that, we didn't rush to him being like the strongest, perfect guy as soon as he inherited. The body died. He's literally resuscitating a corpse and turning it into a strong, fueled atlas. Memories flood in, and we get a bit of backstory on the body that Dan's inhabited, Lee's body. Time moves, and this guy shows up. He's part of the merchant group's guard squad. He sees Lee, and he is beyond surprised. But we're not, and in fact, his reaction is going to happen quite a few times. You're always going to see this. But this look on his face, maybe it was seduction soup after all. Typical to Reincarnation manhwas, our MC recalls all the martial arts and methodologies for re-achieving them. It's one of the best parts. We get some names for his martial art and a special move that lets him control lightning. Emperor Palpatine! We did see a bit of that in the intro. 4 out of 10 levels it's pretty good after only training for a year. How fast can we get back to Dan's level of proficiency and strength? And we know it wasn't enough. Oh yeah, this guy's still here. He brings a letter telling Lee that his father has collapsed, and it's probably from the burden of paying tribute to the Ouyang clan. They're protecting them. Our MC has a quick summarization of the situation and decides it's time he stepped in and settled things with his own fists. Lee arrives at the main estate and marvels at its size and splendor. He's enthusiastically greeted by the guards and pays his respects, completely subverting their expectations of him. They only knew him as a jerk, as the old him would have ignored or derided their group. He's greeted snarkily by the third brother, who we were told was the best fighter of the 3. The brother acts up and snap! He gets a good slap in. The second brother is introduced and takes note of some commotion from his father's bedroom. Was his father sick? I don't know. He busts in thinking, oh, maybe my older brother is getting beaten again, and then sees this. He's so confused, and this panel perfectly expresses it. Lee asks this question to his brothers after discovering that the doctor was sent to kill him under their orders. They respond like children. It's kind of cute. And then our MC thinks this. Wow, how can you be thinking that dark thought with such a warm smile on your face? Dark! Lee states he wants to fire the thugs pretending to be security, the Ouyang clan. They laugh in his face and tell him he has no say. So he gracefully reminds them who the real owner of the merchant group is. This is the end of a chapter, and I really love the production team's use of cliffhangers. It is top notch. After a bit of back and forth, Lee says this, and the leader of the Ouyang clan can't take it anymore and attacks. Just like Lee wanted. They battle, and it looks pretty even, but Lee shows that he was just toying with the man. He looks so calm here while striking him. Not the first time we saw our main character tossing an enemy in the air. Is this going to be a running theme? This minor villain starts spewing death flags, and I like this image, where Lee is already within striking distance, and the captain knows it, but only his eyes are quick enough to respond. Lee says his goodbyes and slams the guy into oblivion. We get a really cool side-by-side realization where he says he's not even at half strength yet, and that defeating Gu Yanghu of the Ouyang clan isn't even something to be proud of. And he comments on the realization that even his past level of strength isn't enough to get his revenge. He needs to be even stronger than Dan. These guys know Lee and are talking smack behind his back like everyone else has been doing. So they show up to the merchant group to see him, and they got to dispel these rumors because they know him intimately, and they heard he's changed. They don't believe it. So they bust in, and the seduction soup is still working. This is hilarious. I love that they just close the door again. Let's pretend like this never happened. We get a touching bit of backstory where Lee was hoping that he could change for the better while away to recuperate before Dan took his body. This last image is funny because he's still holding the liquor bottle while talking about it, and that's what they were trying to get away from. The group of friends honestly congratulate him on changing, and Lee is surprised. It's a pleasant surprise that despite his past lascivious behavior, he has real friends. And they're gonna be there regardless. We meet this guy, Yom Ji-sang, as he learns about the death of the Ouyang captain. And with a calm and cool head, he brushes off the calls for revenge by this underling, who then speaks out of place. And look at that, he doesn't even know he's already dead. And this line is so metal. Guess we know who the next big bad guy is. So instead of letting anything bad happen, we bust right into the bad guy's home. A big fight breaks out, and Lee looks like he's having a great time as blood splatters all around him. He's like, tiptoe through the dead bodies, here I go now. Something shoots past Lee, and it's revealed that Yom has a crossbow. Actually, he's got a bunch. How is Lee going to get out of this? You're gonna have to read it for yourself. I can do cliffhangers too! Reincarnation of the Fist King is well written, full of action, well drawn, has decent pacing, and yet despite all of this, feels flat. The character suffers from being too overpowered all the time, which can be good, but it needs balance. And other than him dying at the start, I never felt like the Fist King's life was in danger. Where's the suspense? The rising action? It's just, here's a problem, and he solved it with his fist. Oh, well, that leads to a bigger problem. Guess what? He solved it with his fist. Okay, fine. That's one thing. But then what's with the oddly sexual body reveals of our main character? I was joking at first about seduction soup, but these just keep popping up. I think it's hilarious, but it also does not fit into the story. I give Reincarnation of the Fist King 3 seduction soups out of 5. It's a good, easy read, and I hope with time it grows in both quality and structure. I'll be keeping up with this one. Cheers. A doctor busts in and says, "What's this noise?"